we're going to do an unpacking. I buy things online frequently, and sometimes on this channel we unpack and have a chat about what comes in the post. So we have a box, we have a book this time. This book is a small book. I was expecting a really big book. I've actually sent me I bought on eBay from a hospice in England. So you get these charities which sell on eBay, and I bought this book. This is by Richard England, who is an architect in Malta. He followed his father as an architect and met people like Basil Spence, Desmond Morris, Victor Passmore, and from an early age he started to build things in Malta and do drawings, etc., etc. His first building was the church in Manacata. So I'm going to look through this book. I've never seen it before. It's called Walls of Malta, but in 1970 something, I think it will be. Let's see if it says. He signed it, which is nice. That always reminds me of the Disney signature with the big dot. So it's as a forward by A.C. Suter, and it has these interesting graphics with these repeating words. It's in black and white. It's a nice book, to be fair. It's nicely made. It will probably be made in Malta because they had quite a lot of printers in Malta in those days. It'll be early 70s, I imagine. Doesn't say. Few lands have been so generous. That's a nice thing to say. I'm just trying to find the date. I can't find it. Okay, and I can't see who printed it. I'm assuming it was printed in Malta by one of the printers there. Okay, so we're going to go into it. Aha, 16/3/71. Maybe that's the date. Maybe. So you've got the cliche of a Maltese silhouette at the beginning, which is this thing here. You then go through to the Rubble Walls, a poem by David Cremona, a foreword by Suter, written in Birkirkara, September 71. This is all, to me, anticipatory stuff to fluff it up a bit. It goes on a bit long. Okay, so you get a lot of text again. And these poems and verses, which is a Passmoreism, because he put poems on his pictures, on his prints. I'm not reading it, I'm just having to scan it. He's talking about Malta. He is reinforcing the verse, the text, by putting in these repeating words. So he's repeating the words facade, texture, silhouette, townscape. So it's visually interesting, and it is interesting, to be fair to him. And then you have a succession of comments by people I've never heard of. I should have heard of them, I haven't heard of them. Okay. So we're still doing silhouettes. These are beautiful things. Churches, the flat roofs, the sky, the bell towers, the campanile. Okay, so he's done a silhouette section. Now we're going to do a townscape section. And these are the characteristic aerials that I remember in the 70s, like a thicket, for collecting the signal from mainly Italian, or exclusively Italian TV stations. This predates, of course, to cable and internet and satellite dishes, and it predates 4G and all that. you had to have a very high mast on a stick to get a clear signal. I think the local television station was on part of the time, not all of the time. This is a drawing. It might be by Richard England. He did do a lot of drawings. He did reputedly, well, he did say that he liked to do a drawing a day. Valletta, shadow, churches, streetscape, next to the next section. That's what it looks like still in Valletta. The parts of Valletta which have been the best preserved are some of the poorer parts of Valletta, and they're like this now. One of the reasons it's poor is because it's social housing, and it's because the ownership of the buildings doesn't necessarily just go upwards. The ownership of the building goes sideways sometimes. Even airspace is sold. So getting hold of a block in some parts of Valletta, if you're a builder or hotelier or a foreigner wanting to buy a house, if you want to buy a whole cube, often you'll find a ground floor room is owned by someone else. You might find the neighbour bought the airspace and built a garden on top. So it's not a simple form of conveyancing. And because the streets are narrow and there's no garden, they're not very well suited to commercialisation, some of them on hills as well. And this decrepitude has preserved big parts of Malta. If Valletta had been on a beach and the roads had been wider, it would all have been knocked down, all have been made into hotels. Ironically, by people like the customers of England. This is where I'm heading. I'm aware in Malta he is extremely popular, and the Maltese want to have a famous architect, globally well known, of course they do. And he's a good architect and very talented, and he's prolific and skilled and conscientious and honest and can make nice buildings. But some of the buildings he's made are not nice in my view, and are being taken down, some of them. The Manakata Church, to me, has a very poor rendered finish. I can't see why a rendered finish is better than the Maltese stone. If you consider all the churches in Malta, perhaps up to the time he built that church, were stone, I don't understand why he's rendered it. It looks to me like a Pueblo type, stucco type Mexican thing. I also think that it's built too close to the road. Either it's got to be on the pavement like a town church, or it should be set back more. And if you go look at it now, the car park is scruffy and it's untidy. It's a shame, really. This is a lovely block, and I expect these are his pictures. They're good pictures, and it captures a Malta which is still there, though not quite the same now. You don't see so much washing hanging up anymore. That's changed in 20 years. They've got the tumble dryers, the air conditioning now. These little lovely enamel signs are still there sometimes, not everywhere. Louvre windows. I mean, I've seen those on the street in skips. I've picked them up from time to time in Malta. If someone buys an old palazzo and goes modern on it, often they will just chuck away the Louvre panels, unless it's a scheduled building, and they will just be chucked in a skip. Doors as well, the same. I've had so many lovely doors out of skips in Malta. There isn't the salvage market that there is on the mainland and in England. The niches, of course, are quite a Maltese thing. Beautiful. Lots of those in Valletta on the corners, especially. Lots of English letterboxes still. Lovely chapel. My favourite chapel in Malta is the one by the airport. As you drive away, the last vernacular Maltese building you see before the airport is a chapel, which is floodlit, which looks incredible. That will be 1600 or something like that, the age of that chapel. these are birds. These are, I think, bird cages. Which is a slightly unpleasant traditional pastime in Malta. They would trap a finch, stick it in a cage because the people would like the noise from the bird. I think some of them were released I think some of the bird keepers would let the birds go after a certain period of time, but I think that it's quite a sad thing. I remember in the 70s and early 80s going to the market in Valletta in the ditch, which has been moved since, with my father, and you would be able to buy these birds, which would be in little boxes and little cages, and there would be tubs full of live terrapins and tortoises, and there would be live chickens, parrots, and everything you can imagine. There would be hamsters and gerbils and God knows what, dogs and cats, and fish in bags. And in England, that time had passed, so I was quite upset by it. So I would say to my father, "Can you buy the birds and let them go?" And he would just look at me and say, "Well, what's the point? They're going to get another load." And of course, it would have caused an argument. So I had to walk past all these animals, unfortunately. Rabbits as well, of course. Less of that happens, but it still does happen. Okay, I like the book. I'm not one of Richard England's fans. I don't like a lot of the stuff he's done. I don't like the architect trade as a whole. I think he's wrecked the island. I think there are a lot to apologise for. I think that is the church. I think that is the chapel on Manuel Island, which was bombed and left to wreck until about 1999, 2000, something like that, when it was restored. Texture. He's an intelligent man, Richard England. It's a nice book. It's nicely made. It does get across the feel and essence of Malta. Hopefully that's been interesting. Printed in Malta by Printex Limited. Okay. Design and layout by Richard England. Copyright MRSM Limited. It's a nice book. It's small. I'm glad it's got a signature in it. I will sell it in Malta for a couple €100. If it doesn't sell, I'll keep it. Don't really want to sell it, to be honest. I do like it. And I think it does fall into the category, this is a horrible expression, it does fall into the category of a coffee table book. That is something that I don't mind if I don't sell. They're starting to get expensive, and because it's got the signature, because the condition's good, I would say that's a desirable book. Okay, thank you for looking.